slide sharing. So today we move to the next and last step, our web conceptual design process, concluding with P-IDM that we introduced in the previous lesson. So we are somehow at the end of our journey. Today's lesson is, let's say, heavy because we introduce a number of concepts. So please interrupt me if you have any question. Tomorrow morning, we meet again at 8:30, and we will discuss any possible issues about this content, and I will also give you the specification of the project. So if you have a question, you can either ask them now or prepare your question for tomorrow. I will send you a message through Beep later today because I want to see if you can post this question in advance before the lesson, but I'm trying to find out the most efficient way. Okay, so the first part of this lesson is a sort of recap of what we said in the previous lesson. So the question that is that, okay, we have defined our nice concept, we have split content into various dialogue arts, introductory arts, and into various pieces, and we have related them in multiple ways through relevant relationship, and we have grouped them, but at the end, what do we put in the pages that we are going to implement? And we start with a reflection of what do we usually find in pages in website. We basically find content, multimedia content, links, and not always, unfortunately, but it's strongly recommended to find the so-called orientation info. Where content is clear what it is: text, graphics, images, videos, animation, sound. Links are placeholders to allow you to move from one piece of information to another piece of information. And then orientation info are hints for the user to understand where he or she is and how he or she has got there. So the main concept in P-IDM, the main concept in P-IDM is the concept of page. Page is not an implementation concept, is again an abstraction. It is an atomic unit of presentation and interaction. It's something that you can manage in one shot, and it's a sort of container, a container that might not appear in a single screen on your device. You can scroll it, but you have the feeling that there you have a container of many things. Mention again: content, links, other interaction element on model in ACM, and within content put also information info. Okay, and we mentioned that if we look to web pages, there are many different categories of pages. Different categories of pages that have different roles, that have different purposes for the user. You have pages about the key content of your application, about your domain. So we call them topic pages. In topic pages, users are meant to consume the main content about a single topic, such as if you are in the website of university, about that university, or about topic of a given kind, such as about a specific course, one course among multiple courses. And these pages are typically derived from one or more content dialogue acts. Remember the concept of content dialogue act? Content dialogue act is a self-standing unit of content about a topic or a kind of topic. And then you have pages that are called transition pages. Basically pages where you go to see all the list of all items of all contents related to the content you are coming from. So for example, if you move from, if I move from my course to the list of my students, and with the possibility to move from each student to some detail of the student, that list of students is a transition page, because the list is of pages related to my current course. It's transition in the sense that you are in transit, so you're not going to, you might stay there, you might just look and contemplate the list of your students, but you might want to see some details about a specific student. Or if you move from a painter to his paintings, you typically are interested to see the list, but then to transit to one or more specific item. That's the reason why the word transition page. And then there are introductory pages, basically pages that have the communication role of introducing to a subject, introducing to a group. So let you understand what a group is about, what are its members, so that you decide if you want to go on or not. And they're typically derived from introductory acts. So the introductory acts are from a communication viewpoint, the acts in which you present something. So introductory in the sense that, again, you are in transit here, but in transit to go into the detail on a group. So in a transition page, you are in transit to get more details about related elements. In an introductory page, you're being introduced to a group, you are in transit to explore more about the group. And then we have the home page. The home page, it's the starting point for the user experience in a website. So it's the starting point for the user, and in our approach, is the last one to be designed and to be created. And in fact, it's the last to be discussed in this lesson. Because the idea that we create and we design and create website from its building block. Home page is the mother of all pages, which allows you to start with your experience with a website, and it should encapsulate and reflect the main characteristics of your website. So until you don't really design your entire website, it is recommended in our approach, in the approach presented in this course, to not think about the home page. The home page is the ultimate points of your design process. At the end of your design process, not the first point. Then we also mentioned in our previous lesson that we have various categories of links. So structural links, transition links, group links, and landmarks. And now I'm sure you now understand a little bit better also some of the heuristics that you were asked to analyze for your inspection homework. So structural links, they enable the user to explore a topic, to move there. So links are your instruments, your tool for exploration, your tool for consuming content, your tool for moving from a piece of content to another piece of content. And you move it, so structural links are inside the same structure. Remember, in LIDM, we said we take big things, big entity, and we split them into parts. These parts are called dialogue acts. But then the user has to explore these elements. And these elements, we don't care if these elements are inside the same container, so in the same page, or they're in different pages. The possibility for the user to move from one piece of the topic to another piece of the topic inside the same page or in different pages is called structural links. And from a perspective, cognitive task perspective, structural links are simple to understand and simple to consume. You are on the same topic. You don't need to understand much about this link. If you move from in a course, from the introduction of a course to the syllabus of the course to the bibliography of the course, you have the feeling that you are in the same course. Okay. If you move from a course to its room. Okay, it's easy to understand that why you can move from one course to the room. It's obvious. It will be the room where the course is. It will be the classroom for that course. But in other cases, it might be less complex to understand why some items are related. And in any case, with these links from a course to a classroom, you are switching the cognitive space, and you are in transition link. So you move from one topic to a different one. So you make a sort of cognitive jump. And then you have group links. Group links are those links that support navigation that enable the user to traverse pages that are derived from groups. So the user is moving among introductory pages of a group and pages of the group member. So in a purely hierarchical website, you only have structural link and groups link, because in a hierarchical, in a tree-like information architecture, you can just move from the introductory page of a group to its member, and from a member to another member, and from a member up to the introductory page. So group links and structural links are in all medium large size web application. What characterize more sophisticated website in which you really want to model more about the semantics of your domain and you want to embed more relationship about the word are transition links. One notice about group links is that some group links are static, so you can define them at design time. So they are always available. For example, in a tree-like information architecture, I mean, there is only one way to reach any node. So all group links will be all the same. But in situation in which you don't have just a tree, you have a more complex graph. The same elements can belong to multiple groups. So for example, my course belongs to the course of the group of course for the master program in information in computer engineering and the group of courses in design. Okay. Clearly, when I am in my course and I want to go to the next course in a study plan in the study program manifesto degli studi of information engineering, the next one for my course will be a course in information engineering. If I look into my course in the study manifesto of design, the next one will be a design course. So there is the idea that if the same elements belongs to multiple groups, that page will have a different dynamic group link that depend on the navigation state. So it depends on what the user is currently exploring, where the user is coming from. And then we have landmark. Landmarks, we call landmarks those links that are always there, they're available in all pages. So they're typically the top menu of pages that you put in all pages so that you can have access to these links wherever you are in the website. The typical landmarks is home, the button home or the logo of the website that you can click to go to the home pages. That is the most universal landmark. But there are other landmarks that depend on the application. For example, if you want to organize the website in different areas, in different sections, you have these links to the starting point of this section in all web pages. in a website about your voluntary association, people, the link to the list of people, the link people, which allows you to see the list of all people, so which allows you to click and go to the introductory page for people, that can be a typical landmark. And then the next question is, okay, great, now we have this concept, but how these concepts are linked, are connected to this previous design step, so the LDM design, and how can I create pages starting from LDM specification? Before answering this question, let me just check 1 second if there is any question on the, or any request. I see, okay, so, okay, we can continue. Okay, so our design problem now is how our pages derive from IDM specification. And there are many, okay, there are some strategies more or less complex. So the most, say, straightforward strategy is that, okay, I did a lot of work in LIDM, all this diagram, all these buttons for dialog act. Let's use a default mapping. I have a 1-to-1, an isomorphism from the set of dialog acts of all types of dialog acts, introductory acts, transition act, dialog act for topic kind of topics, to the set of pages. So basically, there is an isomorphism. So one content dialog act goes in one page. The one-to-n relationship goes in one page. So from an author, I move to the page with the list of paintings, and then so on. And then from an introductory act of a group, I go to one page. At this point, you can answer this question. If N is the set of all dialog acts of the various types, define LIDM schema, how many pages do we get? So if we apply this straightforward rule, if we compile an LIDM schema and we map them into a number of pages, what are the size of these two sets? And the answer is relatively simple. It is n plus 1, so all dialog acts plus the home page, because we don't say anything about home page in LIDM. So indeed, this is a general answer, but you might have in your website, you might have pages that are modeled, that are not modeled in our model. So pages, operational pages that allow you to perform operations such as payment, reservation, or forms, data entry pages. These are extra pages that are not calculated in this count. And you may add to your, may need or may want to add to your P-IDM specification. Even though they are not included in IDM, you can invent your own notation in order to include them if you want, if it is part of your specification or requirements of your website. So the other possible mapping that you have n dialog acts, for example, for the same topic, and you move them into one page. Like in this case, you say, okay, my exhibition, in my website, the exhibition is composed of 1, 2, 3, 4 dialog acts. Okay, I don't want to put them, they're too small to put them in a single page. I want to put welcome plus sponsor in one page. I want to put practical info in another page. I want to create a separate page for reservation. So I have grouped 2 dialog acts here into one page. I anticipate something about the notation. So pages have this kind of shape. So these are all pages. So for this dialog act, I will have 3 pages in my website. This is a single topic. So I don't have a multiple exhibit. I have just one exhibition, and for one exhibition, I will have 3 pages. If this were not an exhibition, if this was not a single page such as, for example, this is if this were a multiple topic, a kind of topic in which I have 3 exhibitions in my website. I know from the cardinality that I have 3 exhibitions on my website. In this case, I would have a similar representation with a slightly different graphical notation. But for this kind of topic, exhibition, if it were a kind of topic, so if it had a double arrow around here, I would have a similar notation with double arrows right here, but I would have in practice 9 pages, 3 pages for each instance of a kind of topic. So concerning the notation, this is the notation that you should remember from LIDM for a single topic. This notation means page or page type, depending if you are related to a kind of topic or a topic. This symbol means that you are doing a merge. So you are doing a merge that is specified by this dialog act, welcome plus sponsors. And this symbol means that all these pages are originated from the same topic. But we will go back to this notation later today. Okay, there are other possible mapping. You can put a number of content dialog acts for the same topic. You can also decide that the transition act has not a separate page. So you say, okay, I have a content in a page, I have a content dialog act plus a transition act. So all links for that are corresponding to this transition act are embedded in the topic page. And this is an example. So let me just switch and show you an example of a website. 1 second. I decided not to share the screen, but to share single application, which can be a bit more tricky. I need to switch from one application to the other. And the reason is that that is a hint that we were given because transmitting the all screen capture can be heavier than transmitting a single, the content of a single, of the view of a single application. So we have a higher probability that the quality of the video is higher. So I stop sharing this and I share something else. And what I share now is, if I can find it, 1 second, sorry. And what I share it is the National Gallery of Washington, London. This is London, sorry. So if we look at some pieces, some highlights, and we go to Titian. In this case, each masterpiece is, they made a choice to make the website very visual. And you see here, each painting, like Bacchus Ariane, is related to all paintings of the same author. So that all of them that you can have multiple visualization. So the idea is that this topic is related to all topic of the same author, and in this case they have embedded this transition act that allow you to move from one painting to related painting into one page. So they embedded this painting in the same page. If you go, you might raise a question: are there really transition links or are they group links? We will go back to this issue because the same thing can be classified, the same behavior of a website when you do reverse design like we're doing now can be interpreted in different way. But for the moment we can say, okay, we can interpret this page as the page presenting a painting in which we have a transition link to the author and the links to the paintings of the same author, to the related painting of the same author. And then we also have a number of landmarks. Here, these are landmarks. These are structural links in which you have key facts, description, you can, well, that is an operational link to the download the image, and then it is another transitional link to buy a print. So we have structural links, operational links that we don't model, landmarks, and related and transition links embedding this entire transition act. We can go to Titian, and we have a similar situation. In this case, we do not have a transition structural link. They have decided to put everything in the same long pages without interaction. You can only scroll. You don't have specific link to jump from piece to piece. But again, they embedded all links by Titian into the same page, exactly with the same mechanism as before. Okay, similar in the National Gallery of Arts that we know already from previous examples. So we take a painting from here. Let's go to our Andrea del Castagno. In this case, these are the structural link. This is the transition link. They have decided to okay, if we go to Andrea del Castagno, we have biography. Not clear what is biography and artist no, sorry, this is biography and this is the bibliography. And then they have created a sort of separate page, no matter if it is implemented as the same page, but this works of art, this page that you visualize here, is the transition page for the relevant relationship works of this artist, and it's presented here in a separate page in which Andrea del Castagno, Florentine, blah blah. These are they can be modeled in our reverse design as orientation info. So this is the orientation info. So we are in a transition page in which Andrea del Castagno, Florentine, blah blah is orientation info, and we see the related work. So we are in the transition page for the relationship worked by a painter. Continuing, sorry, I switch again and I go to, I stop share this and I will share again. I share again, 1 second, I share again the slides. Okay. So, okay, what are the links? What are the links in a transition page? In a transition page, you have the link to the related topic page. And you should have a link to the topic page the user is coming from. So for example, when I am the page of all paintings of the same painter, I need to have a link, an explicit link to return to the specific painter. Okay. At this point, we have a question. Say, okay, now we have all this idea about links, about pages, but I mean, is there any guidance to create regular, consistent link structures? And then there are so many links that I can have. I have this proliferation of links. Can I represent in a compact way many links in my specification? And the answer is yes, if you use the concept of navigation pattern. Okay, the navigation pattern is inspired of the concept. Sorry, there is my cuckoo that I forgot to turn off when I teach. Sorry, it's okay. It comes from the Black Forest in Germany, and I should turn it off. Okay, next time. It's inspired of, so navigation pattern is inspired to the concept of design pattern, and it's a concept that is not does not come from web design. It comes from actually it comes from architecture. It dates back to the 50s. There was an architect called Alexander, who in 79, the 50, I meant the 70, defined this concept of design pattern, and then software engineering was had been used it quite intensively. So a typical example of design pattern that you are in software engineering is MVC, model view control, which also has some implementation. So a pattern is a design concept that you can have an implementation or you can have an architecture. So the MVC model view control pattern has many implementation solutions, but its origin is the idea of being a pattern. So what is a design pattern? Design pattern is a couple problem solution. Okay, it's made of two main ingredients: problem and solution. So the problem is some issue that occurs over and over again in an environment. It's a typical problem of a situation, and the solution is the way you address this problem. But to be a problem, to be a solution is not enough. It's not simply a problem related to a solution. It's a frequent problem, a problem that you find many, many times in a given context or domain. And the solution is something that has been proved effective in that domain. And it's been proved effective and can be reused and adapted. It's not a solution which is very specific. It's something which is general, effective, and general enough so that you can reuse the solution a million times over without ever doing the same way twice. The idea is that you take the solution and you adapt it to the specific feature of your problem. So a design pattern provides a descriptive structure for integrating the analysis and the solution of a recurrent problem in a way that is sensitive to context, is informed by theory and evidence, and it is reusable with a minimum degree of customization. So it's a methodological idea, the one of design pattern. And in the case of navigation is what? Well, in case of navigation, you don't need to have a design pattern can be everything from, in architecture, design pattern is how do I design windows in schools? How do we design corridors and connecting indoor spaces in a large building? So this is the kind of design pattern that we have. They're not broad. The problem must be very focused. So navigation patterns are solve some general problems of navigation, and basically they provide navigation strategies that you can reuse and you can refer to in a compact way. And the navigation patterns are related to the problem of how can I explore many things, a set of many pages. So it's related to the idea of set of pages. Set of pages can be the pages originated from a group. A set of pages originated from relevant relationship. Okay, so when I have a group of pages that belong to a group in some way, or they are derived from a group, or when I have a group of a set of pages that are a set because they are a relevant relation, how can I navigate them? Sorry. And we have three main navigation patterns: the tool, index, and all to all. Sorry. And remember, if I were asked what are the most important concepts in your course, I can list several things, not many, say 5 things. I think our take-home message from this course, one of them is navigation pattern, because the idea of navigation patterns, guided tool, index, all to all, or any intermix of these patterns, I think is powerful in any situation where you design any interaction within groups, sets of items. So no matter if you're doing hyper web application, or if you're designing other kind of interfaces, or you are designing making the task analysis and you want to represent in a diagram your task analysis, I suggest you to remember this concept of guided tour, of creating navigation or connection within a set of items. And these are the guided tours. So imagine, here is the picture. Imagine you have a set of items, n items, and one which is a sort of introductory element. How can I navigate? So this is the set, the oval defines the set. In this set we have n plus one element. How can I navigate in this set? Well, the idea is the following: identify the most relevant element, the entry point. So start with one and then move forward, next, backward, previous, across the other elements, and then from the first one go up to the most relevant one. This is guided tool, means I guide you through the element of this set, which also means defining a sort of the most important one, which is the starting point, and to order the others in a sequence. So it's a navigation within a sequence. And what is the problem? I want to provide, what is my design problem? I want to provide an easy to use access, exploration, in a small group of objects, assuming that the user has no reason to select one of them. So you are guiding the user. The user has no preferences. You define the preference for the user. And of course, this pattern is good for a small group, because if you have 100 of items here, well, maybe the user is interested, discovers that he is interested to the one in the middle of this 100 list of items. It will have to do 50 clicks before getting it. So this is good to guide the user into a small size group. You can have variants from in terms of topological. So the key guided tour is the key, the core pattern, but it's related to some variants. Like in these cases, you have a links from the last item up to the introductory item, to the starting point item. So when you are at the end, you say, okay, I would like to start again. You don't go back, but you jump directly here. Or this is another variant. From the last item, you have a direct jump to the first one. So guided tour is a way to force navigation of the user. And then you have something more flexible, which is called index pattern. So I have more items here. I'm not constrained by the number. I can have many of them. I want to provide fast access to a group of objects for those users who are interested in one or more of them and are able to make the choice. So what you do, again, you define the core element, the starting point. Then you don't need to put any order within these elements, because you will have links that allow you to directly access each of these items. So index means direct access from one privileged item to any other, to each of them. By item, in this case, I mean, is a general term to say that you can translate in this concept to pages. So assume that you have, these are a page, and these are page, these are page, this is a page. Okay. And then you can make a combination. So you can say, okay, I have a privileged entry point. I create an order among items. I can start from the first one and go next and previous, next preview, or I mean, at the same time, I allow the user to access each of these items at will. So this is a combination, index plus guided tool. You know, this is, okay, so why is this a compact notation? Because in your specification, you just need to say, okay, I want to have a navigation using index and guided to pattern. You do not have to specify a topology like this. You have a single name, index provided, single title, small, very small set of characters to indicate a topology, a set of links that can be very wide. So in one shot, with a small set of characters, you identify a complex navigation structure. And then you have the all-to-all pattern. And the basic idea is that here you don't have any privileged item. You can, in some way, anytime you reach one item, no matter how, you will be connected to all the other items. Of course, this is the richest structure because you have many links. So from each of them, you have to this is a solution that, in mathematical terms, subsumes all the others, because I mean, it includes links next to next and previous, and includes a link from one to all the others. It's clearly speeds up navigation in a set of objects, because it allows you to jump from one to the other. Still, I mean, you risk a proliferation of links in each page. So if you have many items, of course, if you have 100 items here, in each page, you will have 99 links. Maybe not a good solution, depends on the context, but if you want to maximize navigation speed and you want to maximize navigation speed, you can adopt this pattern, but warning, the results must be usable. So the user should be able to exploit these navigation opportunities. If you don't balance richness of navigation with usability, you need to have a spaghetti network that becomes not usable. So how to use navigate on pattern? I said it's an intentional mathematical means something from which you can derive something else. Compact representation for set of link among group of pages. They also improve the readability of documentation. So they provide you consistent. So you are consistent when you use pattern. You tend to be more consistent, because if you say, okay, I want to put a guided tour here, you tend to say, okay, and here I want to use a guided tour pattern, and here I want to use a guided tour pattern. So guided tour prescribes how a navigation strategy is going to be implemented. So if you say, I want to use, for example, this pattern, it means that every time you have a group, you say, in some groups I want to organize navigation as a guided tour. This is a clear specification. So all your pages will have a next and previous, and all your last pages will have an return a link to go up to these elements. So this guides you in the implementation, even though a guided tour might not be implemented automatically, even if in some framework they can implement it automatically. But here you have a clear specification. When you say that some groups have a guided tour, you have a specification that you must implement the links forward, backward, and up to the starting point. So it's a way to promote consistency, consistency in the implementation through a clear design specification. And also, as you will see, they improve the readability of the documentation. The basic idea is that when you want to decide to define structure links or groups link or navigation within pages that are related by the say semantic relevant relationship, you don't need to draw many arrows. You just attach the pattern name to the situation where you want to attach that pattern. And we will see example later when we talk about documentation. Okay, and now we will go back and repeat some concept in light to what we have understood so far. Is there any question? Okay, the question are okay. Wikipedia pages where you are allowed to put as many links as you are. No, this is not a point. I mean, Wikipedia pages are the implementation of the very original idea of hypertext. Within a page, I have links attached to words that allow me to jump here and there. In the original hypertext, the one that were in the initial idea of Tim Berners-Lee, was exactly like that. Hypertext, text with embedded links. And so Wikipedia basically say you can link in principle, any words to some content, any words which has a meaning, which has an associated content in Wikipedia. So Wikipedia has only one kind of topic, basically, which is topic. An item, voice, yes, an entry in Wikipedia is a topic of a kind, or whose kind is entry. Okay, so the all-to-all pattern means I have a set of pages that I have extracted from I have identified in my website. For example, my favorite paintings, all people in my voluntary association, the courses of Professor Garzotto, or the courses of a teacher. These are groups, and you say, okay, within groups, my navigation pattern is all-to-all, which means from any member of this group, I see all the others. From the introductory page of the group, I can go everywhere. And that is the idea. So you have to, it's not saying that all your pages can be connected in a totally free way. And just to say, within this group, all is connected to all, but within this group. Other question. All to all as item connected with the other, while in index plus guided tour, all items are connected to core elements, but you can accept only one or two elements in the same, but you can access only two elements of the same level. Exactly. That exactly is a way to say. Okay. In an index plus guided tour, all items are connected to the introductory page. So they have one up link. And then all items have two links to the next and to the previous, with the exception of the first item, which just has a next, and with us, and the exception of the last one, which just has a previous, besides the up link. I hope that this explains. Okay, could you say that home page has index pattern? Yes, that is an implication of our reasoning. Home page, they basically have index patterns only. In some cases, they can have structural link. If you make a very heavy home page in which you structure the content of the web page, you can have also structural links. But typically, home pages have index pattern plus group link according to the index pattern, plus they might have a structural link. Other question? No. Okay, good question. Bravi. Return to. Okay, so let's refocus some concepts. So, apologize for keeping repeating some concepts, but okay, I think it's useful. Okay, so summarizing. A topic page, what do we have in a topic page? What is it's a content structure? Topic page means a page about a topic, either a single topic or a topic in a kind of topic. So we have a title, what the page is about. The typical content, so the dialogue act, defined from logical design, from L-IDM. Then we have a structural link. These links are typically static. I mean, if I am part of a topic together with other parts, the structural links allow to to go to other dialogue acts in the same topic. Structural links do not necessarily move you to a different page. Structural link may allow you to go to other pieces of content within the same page. Then you have transition link from each outgoing relevant relation. Outgoing means a relevant relation that I have with other topics, and this is also static because they are defined at design time. We have landmarks. So landmarks are links that are typically defined since the home page, and they are links that belongs to all pages. Orientation info, which is often dynamic, that say where I am, how did I get here. And then we have group links. This one can be either static or dynamic. So when I am in a page and this page belongs to a group of pages, I have links according to the pattern that I have defined for that group. Why it is dynamic? It's dynamic because you may decide that only when I reach that page from a group, from an introductory page, I have the next and previous. So when I go to an artist page, to a group. Imagine you are organized the courses by master program. Okay, you can go to a course because you are coming from a professor, because you are coming from a master program, because you are coming from the alphabetic list of all courses. The next or previous or up links depends on the group you are coming from. Okay. Okay, this is the structure of a topic page. This is the structure of a transition page. It's a page with a list of links corresponding to a relationship. And here, by the way, you understand the role of having a cardinality. The cardinality, for example, when you have a teacher, the relation between a teacher and the course, minimum 1, maximum 10. Which is a bit too much for Polytechnic, but anyway. Okay, if you know that the maximum is 10, you say 10 is a lot. I will make an explicit transition page. If this relationship teacher course has a maximum 3, you will probably embed the transition link inside the page. Anyway, in this hypothesis, the idea is that I'm moving from a teacher to a page that represented this relationship with the maximum 10 courses of this teacher. These pages that represent the relationship has a title, courses taught by Franca Garzotto, list of links, a link to each target of the relationship. So a list, this link, then there is the issue of how I represent these links. So basically each link should allow me to go to one specific course of Franca Garzotto if I have decided to have an index pattern. The problem that we will discuss better tomorrow is how do I represent these links? That is another design problem, how I create the right label for this link. The label could be, for example, name, subtitle, starting date, name of the courses, subtitle, if any. So this can be, name can be hype, subtitle, Hypermedia and web applications, starting date, I don't know, remember, 10th of May or March. And then in this page, as always, we have landmarks, and you might have orientation info, which is often dynamic, where I am, can be embedded in the title, courses taught by Franca Garzotto, but you can also have additional orientation info, such as courses taught by Franca Garzotto, and you're coming from master program in computer engineering. Okay, there are some design issues in the transition page, and the design issue we will discuss tomorrow is how do I represent each link. So as for painting, should I put the name, the date, the style, the technique, the comment, whatever, a thumbnail image? And the way you represent this placeholder depend on a number of design issue. But again, I will go back to these slides tomorrow Okay, there are also situations in which the cardinality is 0, 1, so you have a missing relationship, or you have 0, n, so you have situation in which there is 0 related elements, or at most 1, or at most n. So in this case, you can decide, okay, I do not show any link. So if you have a teacher without courses, okay, you say without courses. This is a special case. This teacher this year has no courses. You do not show, you do not include any link. Or you include a link that is, it can be confusing because the user could expect to have a link between a teacher and courses. You can put a sort of non-active link, just a gray one, which can be annoying because you see something, you try to click and you cannot do anything. So a link which is either not active or shaded to convey the message that in this specific case the link is not there, but in other similar pages you may find it. So you have visual design solution that ranges from not showing the link, showing it not active, which is annoying, showing it as shadow. So you say, okay, something wrong with this link. Maybe if you can do a sophisticated mechanism, you can put a non-active link and say this link is not active because this relationship is does not hold in this case. So you get into the realm of a sophisticated design solution, but you have to take into account that when cardinality, the minimum is 0, you have to think something special for that solution. Then you have introductory pages. The main introduction pages are the pages for the group, for introducing the group. And the structure has a title. It can have an introductory content, so something that explains what we're talking about, how to attract the user attention, how to promote an in-depth analysis. And then you have a list of items. And again, for each item, you have to take the design decision on how to describe that item, how to make a preview of this item. And then again, we will discuss, there will be a little piece of the lesson tomorrow devoted to how do I preview items in a list. And then again, you can have landmark orientation links. This go on link, wow, that is a mistake. The go on link is a mistake from the past. I will correct it. Okay, sorry for this mistake. Okay, let's okay, in an introductory page, remember that you want to introduce the group, so you want to present the member of the group. You can have content of different kind. You can have a textual representation. You can have also a graphic representation that tell you the items. It's designing good introductory pages. That is a sort of anti-camera. Oh, how do you say anti-camera? Okay, the starting room in an apartment, the starting room, the entry room in a castle. You want to introduce and give the feeling of what you can find there. Okay, in introductory pages, you might put other elements that are not modeled in IDM, such as interaction element to control the order. So you want to reorder items according to a different order. You must have an initial order, such as temporal order, time-based order of elements, or alphabetic order by title. But the user, you might decide that the user want to have other ordering mechanisms, so you might introduce some interaction element to enable the user to change the order or to filter the items within your page. So from a say structural point of view, the items are there, are in the pages in that order. You might reduce the visualization of the items through a filtering, or you can change the order. These are all interactive elements that you do not model in IDM. You will model, you will describe textually in your documentation, and you will describe in a different way when you will show mockups. That's a part of your documentation that I will explain tomorrow. On page. On page, I say finally on page because it's the starting point for the user and it's the last step for the designer. So let me just take a short break so I can, I will answer some questions, stop for a while the recording so we have smaller videos and okay, you said that a structured link will also lead to another piece of content on the same page. Yes. We will see in a few minutes. You can map all pieces of the same topic in the same page, all or some piece of the topic on the same page, and then you can, and then links allow you to jump from one piece to another one in the same page. Such as a page such as the one in National Gallery where you can calculate provenance and the content changes within the pages. Is that content a single page or a different page, everything the content changes? Okay, that is a very good question. It depends. Okay, a page has an implementation counterpart. So you can, from the user perspective, it's a sort of different pages because a big portion of his perceivable unit of visualization is changing a big piece. You're not just replacing one line, a picture or something. You're replacing a big piece. So from the user perspective, it's a sort of, we are changing. We are moving to a different, we're focusing on something else. Even though from an implementation perspective, it is the same container. I mean, when you publish, when you dynamically create that page, you provide all contents in which the contents associated to structural links are stored in the background of the page, and you basically implement a mechanism so that they show up. So from an implementation point of view, it is the same page. From the user perception point of view, there are, in my opinion, different pages. You as designer, you don't need to define. You as designer could model this situation by saying that these two elements. It's up to you in a sense. You can say that these two elements are combined in the same page, or they're separate page. Okay. I'm trying to explain it. So let me put it another way. If you designer says that these two pieces of contents go in the same page, they should always be visible, because the idea that they are a unit and in one shot of interaction you see them together, at most scrolling. In this specific case, I will model them as two different pages because the user can see something and then he clicks and a big portion of his visualization is changing. From an implementation viewpoint, you can model them as two separate pages, but more probably you will model it as a single implementation page because you load up the content in advance and then you present them with different visualization forms. I hope that I have answered your question. Okay, so I will stop recording for 5 minutes. We take 5 minutes of break. In the meantime, we save.